Okay, so we made it to Missouri, Texas. We're already left the room and we're headed to where breakfast. Oh, don't you just love when you leave the room and you don't have your key? Where is it? Ta-da! Let's go. Took us about 4 hours and 40 minutes to get here because we made one stop at a gas station. And then we got back on the service road for about 30 minutes before getting back on 45 to make it to Missouri City. Sleep in. So the plan is to take some things from the continental breakfast and bring them back to the room because we're going to be here all day and all night up until about 10. Then we're headed to the wedding that we actually drove here for. So it's just me and kids and our my mom and her sisters here for Missouri City. So I'm at Sleep In Missouri City. Hello. And I am, when we were looking for hotels, we were making sure that we get a continental breakfast because I knew I was coming with my kids. Even though yesterday we searched all day to get our rental, and my mom had gone through a third party. The third party had taken $113 from my mom, and we were supposed to pay the remainder when we get to Enterprise. So we got to Enterprise, and they were saying, we see your name, but we don't see any money, and there's no reservation. So I said, well, where are we going to get a 7-passenger minivan? Because it's my mom, her 2 sisters, and me, and my 3 kids. So we need a 7-passenger van. So we ended up on Forest, then we went to Mumford. When we got to Mumford Road, that's when where we were told to go because that's where they have a 7-passenger van. We got over there and we called the third party again, and they said that when you go in there, you'll be able to get your reservation. So we hung up with them, walked inside, and when we walked inside, they said, we see your name, but we don't see any reservation. We were just like, oh my gosh, what's going on? I told my mom, hang up with them, stop talking to them. They're scammers. They just took your money. And so, because this has now happened twice, so I asked the guy through Enterprise, and I said, okay, sir, he's the one that used the term third party, and he was telling us, okay, you know what, trying to rent a van, people are coming back from spring break, and so a lot of our vans are gone, but they should be returned because it's Friday. Some can start being returned right now because it's Friday, it's the end of the week, and so he was like, go to Plano Parkway, you'll be able to find some. So we called over there before we went over there. Oh my gosh. And they gave us one more address, and it was like 410 Central Expressway. And so we had called over there. The Indian company had called over there. That happened when we left Fort Saint. So there were 3 actual places that we were being referred to, but they didn't actually they had our name, but they didn't have like a reservation for what we needed. So when we actually got to the Montfort, they told us when you get to Plano Parkway, they're actually going to have it. As we were driving over there, the one on Montfort was just like, oh, we actually do have it. For some reason, we saw your name, but we didn't see the reservation. So if you're not too far, and I was just like, hold on, I'm on my way to Plano Parkway, and I need to know how to not repeat this again. How come we were there and you were not able to see our reservation? What happened? And he was like, well, we typed in your first name, we typed in your last name, we typed in your phone number, we weren't able to see a match. And I was just like, well, what were you doing to where all of a sudden you can see it now so that we don't face the same situation when I'm going to Plano Parkway? And he's just like, to be honest with you, ma'am, I can only do what I'm familiar with doing with this system, on this device. And so for it to just show up now, I just have no explanations, but I just wanted to let you know there is a van here in our parking lot right now, and it is accessible to you and is reserved for you. I was just like, we're only 2 minutes out from Plano Parkway, and it's such a distance that we were just going to stay at Plano Parkway. And so when we got there, they were very efficient with us. But now the time that had elapsed between going from all these locations, my kids were at school, and now that I'm at Plano Parkway, it was getting to time to be released. And the deal is that my ex-husband had the kids for 2 weeks straight. I didn't intervene because I had not gotten my SNAP. And because I didn't have my SNAP, I did not try to go pick them up because I just need food in the house, right? So even if it's not my day and he's picking them up, I usually will try to say something on text like, okay, you want to have an issue? Okay, well, I'm coming up to the house, or I'm going to write this down because the court needs to hear this, or whatever. Just so that I don't have like an argument, but that he knows that it's what I'm asking is something that's already been decided by court. And I'll do that through text. But here we are where I had them last weekend, and it was made known to me, hey, if he can just do whatever he wants, I should also exercise the same thing. And I haven't been courageous enough to do that. And I'm taking a deep breath even as I verbalize that. Child, when you're dealing with somebody that don't mind punching you in the face, that don't mind starting stuff and then calling the police on you, the drama is just something you want to avoid. And I'm asking myself, is it worth it? I want them to come to Missouri City with me. They're not allowed to be in the wedding because it's reservation only and it's no children allowed. But here we are. But I know that this road trip, being in the presence of my mom and my aunties, 1, 2, 3, and my aunties, is going to be not just making memories, it's going to cultivate you. And so the more instances they have with family members that have care and concern and love for them, then the more checked in to identity that they have. Okay? It doesn't have to be this constant back and forth, and then your identity is formulated in school, and then your identity is formulated by the things that you see on your screen. Absolutely not. There needs to be a division, but that is inculcated, that is received, and that is learned in the developmental stages, and in the times and opportunities that I have. So I'm usually working. I'm usually at a security post, but I've actually taken off for this wedding. And I went to the first sister's wedding, and then the youngest sister, and now this is the third one. So these are actual cousins, and it will be a reunion. So that means that everyone that is family is in town. They are in this city, and not the city, in Houston. It's the major city, and my kids will not care. But the more instances they have with people that are in their life, that care for them, that look like them, that are from the same exact village they are, then the more identity is that of who they are, their heritage is forced upon them, and that they would have to they would have to be intentional about trying to deny that if they ever wanted to become something that they're not, So, not like career-wise. I mean, like, as far as like who you are as a Nigerian, and there's some Nigerian practices that there are many Nigerian practices and ideologies and principles that they're out the window. So no need. We miss that. It's a blessing to us, right? But as far as like being familiar with family members, being familiar with being in the presence of, so right now my mom and her sisters are having a conversation, being present around the language. Right now my mom was just like, your name is not this, your name is Ada. And Ada is a name, but it's also a title. And that's what she was telling my daughter. My daughter was scrolling, she was like, actually, my name is Cheto. And then my mom was just like, no, I need you to know who you are. So when Adas are called, or when Adas are, ain't nobody gonna ever call, oh, if you're Ada, but you need to know that there's responsibilities, there are expectations, and there are, and it's a prestige, and you'll begin to look at yourself differently. And these things they will not get living with me. If I don't speak the language, then I'm missing out on being able to tell you all the attributes that come with this name, that name. So I'm sitting here running my mouth, but let me go back to the story. So we were at the Plano Parkway, and I saw it is 3:00. My phone goes off anyway. So wherever I am, at the time that my phone goes off, if I'm in DFW, which is most likely 9 times out of 10, which is usually 9.5 times out of 10, I need to be on my way, because that pickup line is where I need to be. And so I'm now further out because we've been traveling according to where we get this car. But I'm telling my mom, I'm gonna have to drive our car, and when the rental gets available, then you're gonna need to take that and go to my house where you drop your sister's off at. And so now it gets to like 3, then 3:15. My kids release at 3:45. It's now 3:45, and I'm texting my kids, hey, stay inside the school. Because we had a meeting yesterday. Their dad is always picking them up. He stopped feeding them because he heard I had a third job. Yes, it hurts me because now I have to bring more out of my pocket, but it can hurt them too. And I'm just, his decision to do that. But he's always number one whenever he's picking up their kids, or in the first few, right? And so I didn't want them to be in that anxious experience, in that anxious space, right? They're still kids. And so I can deprive them of that if I pick them up on time. They won't have to be to where they see him. They don't know what to do. And they are waiting to get in the brand new, into the rental, which is what we discussed the day before. And I asked them, and I told them, like, this can be anxious, and this can be, not the good exciting, but the bad exciting. And I want them to know that this is your daddy's weekend, okay? And he will be there, and I want you to know to get in that car and then wait for another opportunity for us to travel together. And they were like, no, he will never let us. He doesn't let us to have friends. He doesn't allow us to. He just has these beliefs about friends that they will do this, which is to some extent true. Friends can steer your life wrong, but they can also be very good. But anyway, if I were on time, I would have kept them from experiencing that. What is it? It's not anxiety. Yeah, anxiety. So I'm still it's 3:45. Their dad is there. He always goes through the back. Me and the kids discuss and stay in the front, and I'll pick them up. And then in order to not just pay him back, but he needs his days, then I will, make you guys available to him consecutive days, because he just needs to know he's not being taken advantage of. You know what I mean? And so I'm still at Plano Parkway. It's 3:45. My kids are texting me, and I just take off with my mom's car. And she's like, okay, I guess I'll just try. And I'm just like, see, the way that you responded, that wasn't her thing to trip about. It was my thing to trip about. So she's worried about getting the car, understandable. But I want the car too. But even superior to that, I need to pick these kids up. This is why we're looking for 7 passengers. Otherwise, we could just drive a regular car. Two of her sisters in the back, and I drive, you drive. And we just switch off in the front. I just take off toward my kid's school. Then my daughter texts me. She's like, he picked us up. He picked us all up. And I was just like, oh no. And I just pulled over to the side of the road, because I remember going about my house the day before, praying and just saying, hey, God, bless our house while we're not here, and also bless us on the road. And I pray that it's just a very safe but memorable drive from Dallas to Missouri City. And so I just go home, and I did cry. I cried, but I also was just like, some things just happened, and maybe something was going to happen. But I always do that. I'm just like, oh, maybe something was going to happen, and this is why. Something bad was going to happen. This is why the kids weren't able to go with me. This is why they were scooped up. But no, also, it was its weekend. And also, there's just some discussions you shouldn't have with the youth. They should be out of it, because not having fully developed brains is what deprives you of being in certain conversations, because you may not be able to take in the severity of things. And so that's why some conversations just need to be some situations need to be decided for you on your behalf. I got home. I just packed all the things that I brought out and loaded up the car. Oh my God! I was just like, why? He can choose to cooperate. He can choose to say, okay, I'll just keep the kids next weekend. But then there's some people that are like that. Okay, y'all have something that y'all doing. You can keep the kids this weekend, and I'll keep them next weekend, or just this one day, and it's just cooperation. And then there's just some people that cooperation is not an option, and it sucks. But there are some people in certain people's lives, and they're just like, as long as it's you, I will not approve. As long as it's you, I'm not gonna cooperate with you. As long as so far as it's you, no up, down, north, south, east, and west. It'll never be a yes. So we get to bringing everything out of the car, because I had the kids pack up all their things, put it in the car, and then I will take these bags that they've already picked up and their devices and their chargers that they were like, I can't leave without this, and I put it back in the house. Oh, I just left it in the left it there. And then I got a text because actually when I was at the school, when I finally made it, my phone died. And I was actually in my mom's car, and so she had a charger, but it just wasn't charging my phone. And that just on top of my phone dying and then the charger not working. I said, being in a position like this is different, because you're in a situation where you can't, when I say exasperated, you can't even do anything. And I was just like, look at how we've been out for so long. I haven't been able to charge my phone because I wasn't in my car, I was in her car. Oh, my back is hurting. I think it's the tension from the memory. But my phone died, and then on top of that, I couldn't use her charger. And I'm just looking at the school, and I'm just like, if I were here, and it was a 3-minute difference. So that's when I just put over the side of the road, I started crying, but I started just saying, this is how it's supposed to be. God's plan is always superior. And then I just drove home, because I know I drive to my home from the school, so I didn't need like GPS or whatever, but I did need GPS, glory be to God, from Plano Parkway to their school, because I was just unfamiliar. Got home, packed all the things, and then we're actually about to drive. But my phone finally, I had put my phone on the charger when I got home. Finally, it's working, and I get a text, and my daughter's like, he said, yes, we can go. And I'm like, okay, so I'm sharing two emotions at the same time, and I'm experiencing two emotions at the same time, and I'm just like, yay! But what was that about? But what was that about? And for some reason he can't, or he just chooses not to pause and just hear the children, like what they're saying. Hey, we have this going on, please listen. And why would he care, and why should he care? Why would he be concerned? Why would he want to cooperate? We do not live together. We are nothing with each other. It is only because of the children exist that we have any kind of indirect connection, right? So I want to acknowledge that I'm aware of his rights as a human being, as separate from me, right? So that you don't think I'm delusional. Well, he should care, but he should not. But them, and also there are some parents that really don't care as well. So when they said they were explaining it to him, and he was just like, no. What he did was to go take them to his office, and my daughter was just like, hey, come pick us up over there. He's not taking us home, but come pick us up over there. So there was him, some woman, and the kids, and I drove to a distance, and then the kids ran to me, and yay, I was able to, I had already put their clothes in the rental that my mom was in, waiting with her sisters. And then from there, the kids got in, and I hugged them. My son said he got hit because he was crying, because he was like, oh my God, my son and my oldest son and my daughter were the ones booking the car. My daughter was doing the hotel rental. She was scrolling through the line, online, looking for the hotels, and then my oldest son was looking for car rentals, and they went through that process through trying to reserve, and then getting my mom card information, and then trying to report all the information, and then getting it back to her so she knows it, and getting her to make use of her email and all these things. And so to not be a part of the process when we shared that you would be a part of the trip, I'm sure that's probably why he started crying. But for some reason, his dad was just like, oh, be quiet, all this crying. I think emotions make the parent want to have to be present emotionally. And their dad is like, I'm not gonna do all that. I'm gonna pick up for school. That's it. So they got in the car, and we drove to Missouri City, and now we're here. I'll post more videos throughout the day, but it's a Nigerian wedding, so we will start on time, but later on tonight. Mwah.